name is Lucy-Mae Bly, and today I am joined by the wonderful Todd and Max Burton, the creators of the show Developers. So I'm just going to interview you guys to hear a bit about the process and the show itself. So what made you come up with this idea and the show?
Well, we like The Office a lot. Yeah, it was kind of in, I want to say June last year. We all kind of around the same time kind of rediscovered it was first the US office, and then eventually we bonded all over the UK office, and I came to you one day and on Zoom, and I went, what if we did The Office in Link Room in Train? What if we did it there and we took the characters and we kind of tried to make them our own, and then it kind of just went from there.
Yeah, and we had this whole discussion about what do we mean when we say remake The Office. Obviously, we're not going to do an Office US and remake The Office, but we wanted to pay homage to it as much as possible to it. But there was a line that we wanted to figure out between, whether we did replicate it or whether what we made our own.
Take your own spin on it.
Yeah, exactly.
And so obviously it's a very comedic show, The Office. With, the filming of it, the editing of it, and the visual style. How much would you say that your humour contributed to the script writing process or taken from The Office?
I think you can clearly see when you watch it that we've been inspired by that humour with the zoom ins and the awkwardness, and the whole style of it is The Office humour. But we wanted to bring our own selves into it. The problem was that specifically with the UK office, but also with the US office, a lot of that humour maybe couldn't be replicated now because a lot of it is quite dark, maybe not so appropriate, right? We wanted to have elements of that with those characters that you can laugh at, not the things that they're laughing at themselves. But we wanted to dial that down a little bit, but also add in our own humour. So we sort of changed the characters about a bit and used also our own personalities in it.
I think it was very evident at first. Brian, when we kind of first wrote him, was very David Brent. Was very he was just really like not a nice person. And then as we started writing it, he became a lot more energetic and a lot more young. And then because I think initially when we wrote Brian, he was maybe even I was even going to pretend to be like 30 or 40. And then we kind of wrote it and went, no, maybe he is young, maybe he's in his early 20s and he's just really young, and
so
then
you can bring a bit of yourselves into
and that's what we brought into ourselves.
Exactly, and that's what made us unique, I think, was the fact that we were making it for a modern era. A lot of us were young. We said, how can we show that we're young and work in an office? Well, why don't we work on an app? Why don't we work on social media?
To modernise the show was...
What would you say the biggest challenges were, or were there any challenges in whether that's the script writing process, the filming, the editing,
the audio was difficult because poor Max having to edit it. We'd record, we had these mics clipped to our phones. We'd do no matter how many takes we do, we'd just record the whole scene through on one audio file. And then we'd airdrop them to Max at the end of the day, and he would have to scroll through all this audio and find into a corresponding take, with each take being a different file on the camera. And so I think that was a practical challenge.
The editing process took a long time.
Well, it was brilliant.
Oh, thank you. I think as well, I can't believe you didn't mention it, COVID-19.
COVID was
the biggest challenge. Because we stopped filming for how long? 6 months?
Yeah, we filmed the first 2 episodes. I think that's why the audience did notice my hair is considerably longer between the second and third episode. It's quite noticeable. I tried to gel it down. It didn't work as well. But I think we filmed the first 2 pretty much, quite consecutively. We filmed them, ready to film the third, and then we had a COVID outbreak within our community, and we had to isolate, and then certain members of the show had to go home early.
So did you film a few episodes, then write more, or did you write the entire thing, then start filming?
Wrote the entire thing.
We did a read through.
And
then
was that over Zoom, or was that?
Yeah, that was all over Zoom. What we would do was, I would just I would just FaceTime you, and we were like, should we just write this? And we would only intend to, we'll write 2 pages today, and we'd end up writing half the episode, because it was really, once we got into the flow, it was so easy to...
And I think that's what was difficult as well about filming the third episode, was that flow. The flow had been stopped, and so it was hard to sort of get that energy back. As soon as we started the filming process, we sort of fell in love with it again.
Especially with the third episode, because the third episode is by far the meatiest and the longest out of all of them. That's what she said. And it's difficult, you know, because it was just there's so many different elements to the third episode. There's so many different parts to it that it was like, and not only are we trying to get back into the flow of filming, but we're also trying to logistically put together this behemoth of an episode compared to the other two.
So have there been any really memorable, funny moments within the process?
I think just trying to get through any take where I was insulting Sam was like just so difficult because Sam is the king of looking sad, and he just manages to have this melancholic expression on his face, which I don't think anybody else I've ever seen replicate quite as effectively. It was so funny and easy to improv on set with certain jokes, like when we do stuff and you can improv every time, and then like for example, Tommy would like improv something that we hadn't written in the script. He'd like add a little bit extra to a line or an extra word, and it would just come right through.
There's a quote from Casablanca which is, "He is looking at you, kid." And so Tommy, I think he either got it wrong or he said it on purpose, but he improvised it and he went, "Please stop looking at the kids," and it just made us laugh.
Oh, Brian.
Keep going to the camera.
Hello, blah blah.
Do it properly.
Matt, we've got to get on with the fucking filming. Stop doing a bit.
Dad? Also jump behind.
He keeps flinching! It's ridiculous!
You should have told her.
You should have spoken about it. You should have just done it. It's up to the script.
Let me do it for the tape. No, you're not doing it.
As a practice.
No, because you'll pour it really hard.
Oh my god!
So with these like, comedic characters, how do you kind of take a step back, or how do you relate to them, or?
Well, obviously it was weird writing for ourselves. So we chose these characters because we wanted to bring elements of ourselves into it. So I think for me, I can't speak for Todd, but for me, I was writing Rob was interesting because I'm quite awkward. I'm not socially awkward, but I'm quite got that awkward look sometimes. I'm a bit like, because I'm so tall, a bit lanky, a bit like, all right guys, right, okay, cool. Nice catching up.
I think with Brian, I think it's very easy to look at him initially and go, well, he's a bit of a dickhead, and he's anything, and it's very easy to, I think, take him at face value with his comedic kind of the situations that he gets himself in. But I think for me, it was kind of important to think, well, what causes him to seek validation in the way that he does? And I think, we looked at his relationship with his brother and his father and his family, and the fact that he's quite young and he hasn't really been very successful in life, but he always tries his best. And it's the fact that kind of everything he does come from a place of kind of genuine desire to be accepted and everything. So that's why I think that was.
With looking obviously deeper into Brian, as you just explained, was that a process that every actor went through? Did you kind of do much character work, or was it a case of having the script and then kind of doing it yourself? Or?
Well, a lot of these characters we wrote with a person in mind. So, for example, clear example is Lucy Assassin. I mean, that character Annie is just an absolute, extreme version of Lucy herself.
Yeah.
Obviously,
but it was also because Lucy has fantastic comedic timing, and we knew that she'd just be able to absolutely nail the part, and she did. We could.
And how do you think that the show's been received, or how did you intend it to be received?
I just think we just want people to like it. I think.
Yeah, I think it was something. As well as putting it out there for other people, it was something for ourselves as well. It was something for us to be proud of.
Fired. Also, it was really important because originally we had planned to do a season 2, but it couldn't happen because of COVID, like we were saying. But I think the important thing was, even if we didn't get to a second season, it's to take the audience on an arc throughout the season. Same with the Rob and me. I think it was important to kind of take that on a journey throughout the show. So by the end of it, we're in a different place than we were at the start. We get small things each episode, and
I think that with having season 2, that would have helped further. I think season 1 was very much setting it up and setting the whole thing. We had further plans, but at the end of the day,
we
rounded it up.
Could pick it up in the future.
Maybe in the future, maybe we'll do a 50 years after reunion, and Brian's in a nursing home and still making horribly offensive jokes.
Well, thank you so much for your time. It's been great to listen about the process, and thank you.
Thank you.